This is Tracy. If you hear things in the background, they are cutting down trees and stuff. We had like a crazy storm and stuff last night where we lost power in the next town over, and it's just been like really bizarre. And you all know driving through traffic when like lights go out is the worst thing ever, because you're trying to make like a left or right turn and people are like not stopping, and I'm like, we're supposed to take turns, dude, like no one is responsible. This is why we can't have nice things. But today I'm going to be doing a video talking about black card advantage. These are really solid cards you can use in EDH. They're all going to be listed in the down bar below if you want to check them out. And I've done a couple other videos. I have an EDH playlist where I post all kinds of videos like this if you want to check it out. I post all sorts of like cool EDH cards and things like that, so we're just going to get into it. The first card I want to talk about is Altar's Wreath. And every time this is in a set and I draft, I always want to take this card, but I never do. But I think it's pretty decent EDH, especially if you're running mono black. Like a lot of these are really good in mono black. When you don't have access to other colors for card advantage, you rely on your color and colorless. It's 2 mana. As an additional cost, you sack a creature and then you draw 2 cards. I think this is really sweet for a couple of reasons. One, it's really sweet if someone's going to exile your creature and you sack it in response. And also you're playing black, so you're probably playing some amount of graveyard recursion, so you have a chance to bring that creature back, which is really sweet. And you get to draw 2 cards out of it for 2 mana, which is really solid. Sacrificing creatures probably not going to be an issue. You're probably going to want that to happen if you're running some sort of like graveyard recursion deck. So overall, I think this card is really sweet. The next card is Night's Whisper. Oh, and one thing too I want to say, and I'm thinking of it too with this card because you do lose life. I don't really feel like that's a big deal, because if you're running some sort of like black, white, like life gain deck, like Obsidian or something really sweet like that, or even if you're just doing bits of damage to yourself, you do have 40 life, so you have more room to play around with, whereas like modern 20 life, like having 20 life is like, I feel like so vulnerable. Like when I have 40 life, I'm like, yeah, just like take the damage, like it's totally fine. So it's definitely a different like mindset. So you have more like wiggle room to play around with. Like in Night's Whisper, where you do lose 2 life, but you also get to draw 2 cards at sorcery speed. This card is definitely really solid. Again, I don't think the life loss is that big of a deal. And very similarly to that, there's a card I want to talk about hand in hand with it, and that is Sign in Blood. What I'd like to note about the difference in these 2 cards is Sign in Blood does say target player, so you can realistically have like one of your opponents like Sign in Blood, which you're like, why would I want to do that? Sometimes your opponent's at 2 life and you Sign in Blood them. Like, guys, I have been in games where I've actually seen that in EDH, like where someone's like, yeah, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life and you're dead. Like, come on, that is so sweet. But not if you Sign in Blood yourself. You just get to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life again. Same thing as Night's Whisper. But this one also is double black mana, so if you are playing multiple colors, I would just kind of be aware of that. Okay, sweet. The next card, really sweet card. I'm kind of sad I've actually never really gotten the chance to play with this card. I just feel like it doesn't fit in any of my decks, and that is Erebos, God of the Dead. He's really sweet. Yeah, like I said, I feel like I've just never had a deck that he's like fit into before. He's a 4 mana 5/7 indestructible, you know, devotion, blah blah blah, we all know that stuff by now. But your opponents can't gain life. Now, I feel like a lot of people misread that and read it as players. You can still gain life. And then you get to pay 2 life to draw a card. I think this card is really sweet, and like, again, black-white life gain decks. I've been thinking about that deck type for a while now. I feel like it's very underplayed and I really like it. I remember I had an Obsidian deck like a while back, and I was trying to do that whole, what is that mechanic where it's like target player loses when you gain one, whatever that mechanic was. I remember I used to be obsessed with that. Obsidian's just really sweet too, like let's just be honest here, but Erebos is great. I love that you don't have to tap him. I love that, you know what's funny I've been realizing with the gods recently, guys? I actually really like sometimes how they're not creatures, and I know that sounds totally bizarre and weird, but a lot of times I'm like, damn, they don't die to removal spells that kill creatures. Like I was playing Ladies, and what's really sweet about Ladies, I have a couple of gods, like I have Karametra in there, I have Athara, who I love, and I run a couple of other gods, and it's really sweet. I run the new god, the white one. She's the double strike indestructible one. She's awesome. She pumps out soldier tokens. And what's really sweet about them is like they don't die to like board wipes. And so I run like a ton of removal because it's me. I run removal like crazy, like a mad woman, like it's going out of style. And I'm like, damn, like my gods just stay alive, because it's hard to get devotion in that deck because it's like 5 color, which is sweet. I know it's a little bit different than Erebos, but it's super sweet. Sometimes you just like don't want devotion because it's hard to remove. That's why I really like a card like this. It's just harder to like get rid of him. Harder and easier. He is an enchantment creature, so you're dealing with, if he is a creature, enchantment removal and creature removal, but I think Erebos is really sweet. I've always, like I said, wanted to play with him. I've just never gotten the opportunity to, but I think he's a really sweet card. Okay, and then we have Succumb to Temptation. I really love the word of the name of this card. I think it's just really sweet. I remember when this card came out and I was like, oh my god, I think this is going to be in some people's EDH decks because I think it's sweet. It's instant speed, so you're paying 1 more mana, but it is also instant speed. You draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. I'm just avidly a fan of playing cards on my opponent's turns rather than my turn, because I love to like fool my opponents to think that I have something super threatening to do, when a lot of times it's just like a card like this, like I just draw cards, which that's threatening in and of itself, definitely, but they're like, oh, maybe she's got a counterspell, or maybe she's got a board wipe, or maybe she's got something else, and it's like, no, I'm just gonna draw some cards, but I have that mana open for that instant speed, which is why I think Succumb to Temptation is a solid card versus a couple of the other cards that definitely have their place. You know, don't get me wrong, sometimes turn 2 you do draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, which is a pretty decent spot to be on turn 2, you know, drawing those extra cards, but yeah, I think Succumb to Temptation is great. I just want to say that all day, Succumb to Temptation, like that's such a great name. Alright, and then we have Read the Bones. Okay, I really like this card. You scry 2, then you draw 2 cards, and you lose 2 life. Something I'm noticing, and again, just because I've been playing ladies a lot recently in EDH, if you don't know, I have a 5-color ladies EDH deck. It's really badass. But anyways, I love the ability of scrying. I think, don't get me wrong, drawing cards is great. I love drawing cards. God, do I love drawing cards. Let me tell you, in every single card game I feel like I play that's like not Magic, I'm like, okay, sweet, but like where do I get to draw cards? Because like, guys, I can't even tell you, like, one, it's like a nervous thing, not like a nervous thing, but it's like a thing I do, like to do something with my hands. I just want to shuffle cards. It's just what I do. But it's totally just like a thing, like I need to busy myself with something. But yeah, any single card game I play, like give me some cards that can draw other cards, because like I need to do that. I'll be doing that in Hearthstone all the time. I'm like, cool, where do I get to draw cards from? Because like this hand is terrible. I need other cards. Me all day, every day. Let me know if you can relate. Hashtag I'm with Tracy if you agree. But yeah, Read the Bones is really sweet. You get to scry, then you draw 2 cards, and you lose 2 life. Again, the 2 life, decently irrelevant. Card is really sweet. I really like this card. Yes, it's 1 more mana. Yes, it's sorcery speed, but again, that scrying ability, knowing what's on top of your deck and pitching those cards away if they're lands later stages of the game when you don't need them, or just cards that are not super helpful, or knowing, oh my god, this card is really sweet. I definitely need to keep that on top. Yeah, card's great. Okay, then we have Vampiric Rites. I really like this card. When I had Mugus, I had this card in there, which, if you've been following me for a while, you remember that deck. It was a sacrifice deck. It was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. And this card was in there, and I really like it. Like, it's 2 mana to sack a creature, you gain 1 and draw a card. Like, again, I can't even tell you, like, what's so sweet about this is, like, if you board wipe or someone else board wipes, and you're like, sweet, I'm gonna sack all my things in response, I'm gonna draw tons of life, and I'm gonna draw cards. Really relevant too, guys, if someone has an exile card, because you just sack in response. Like, oh my goodness, I love that. Overall, I think this card is really fantastic, very underrated, very underplayed. I really like this card. Again, drawing cards and gaining life. This card like counteracts like all those other cards. Like if you're running a ton of card draw, like that say you lose 2 life, you just gain them back and you sack creatures, which is again great for things like exiling your response, making sure those cards chill in your graveyard. And sometimes you just want creatures in your graveyard because you're gonna play like Kese Cagebreakers, which by the way, that card's awesome. My dad came in and was like, where the hell is your mom? And I'm like, she went out. Communication is highly important, guys. Okay, then we have Phyrexian Arena, which by the way, this art that I'm showing you guys, I really love this art. I guess it's new from something. Conspiracy. Okay, sweet. This new art, I think it looks fantastic. Again, love this card. Never had an opportunity to really play with this, but I think it's sweet. It's 3 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and lose life. Just that little bit of card advantage. Like, guys, I can't even tell you, like, just drawing, like, 1 extra card a turn, like, how sweet that is. I really love this card because There's some cards, I can't remember what it was, I didn't talk about it in this video, but there's like one where it's like whenever a creature dies, you draw a card and lose life, which can totally backfire because someone can just blow up the entire board and you lose like 30 life. But I really love a card like this. I feel like it's a very controlled card, if that makes sense, where it's just one extra card, you're just losing 1 life, it's an enchantment, so it's decently removable if you ever need to remove this enchantment because it can kill you in later stages of the game when you're at a low health. But again, that 1 extra card I just think makes this card really sweet. But it's not super overpowered where someone's like, damn, that's a threat, I need to get it off the board, which I think that is a very underrated strategy in my opinion, which I should totally do a video on this. That is like a really interesting point. I'm going to save that thought and like keep it in my back pocket. We're going to talk about that in an upcoming video because I think that's a really sweet idea. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of this card. I think it's really sweet. Yeah. Okay, and the next card we have, if my mouse would work, is No, Baby Come Back! It's called Disciple of Bolas, and I love the art on this card. I'm just gonna say it. I really love when purple is my favorite color, so I love when cards have purple in it. I think it just really stands out, especially against the black borders. But anyways, I think this card is really sweet. It's a 4-mana 2/1. It enters the battlefield, you sack another creature, you gain X life, and draw X cards where X is that creature's power. So I love this card for a lot of reasons. First off, after you do all these sweet things, you get a 2/1, which guys, I love when like cards help get you cards and you get to keep that card. Like that's why I love creatures, because they just chill. Like I think that's awesome. You're left with a 2/1, you're left with the blocker. Hello, Graveyard Recursion, yes, bringing this back after it dies because it's a 2/1. Hello, this with Skull Clamp, yes, please. My god, I should put this card in Tassiger now that I'm talking about it. This card's really sweet. But, yeah, sacking another creature again, Graveyard Recursion, especially with, like, things like ETB effects. This with, like, Green Warden of Marasa, guys, hello, yes. You gain X life and draw X cards where X is the creature's power, so you're drawing cards, you're gaining life, again, counteracting all those cards we talked about earlier where you lose life. Yes, 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 Disciple of Bolas is really fantastic. I like this card a lot. I think it's very underrated. And this card is also a lady, I think. Is this card a lady? Because if not, if so, she should definitely go on ladies. That's a lady. Yo, she should go on ladies. She's really sweet. Oh my god, this is another really good card. Vampire Hexmage. Oh, I love that card. Okay, anyways, the last card we're going to be talking about in this video is Harvester of Souls. I'm trying to get into the card before I even tell you the name. Harvester of Souls, it's a 6-mana 5/5 demon death touch. Whenever a non-token creature dies, you may draw a card. Now, let's just note that it says may in there. Guys, you don't have to draw cards. So say you have like, you have a maximum hand size, you have your 7 cards, and like there's no way that you can, you know, you want to make sure you have 7 in your hand for whatever reason. What is this? That is so random. There's a Harvester of Souls at King, what? There's like a figurine, Harvester of Souls figurine. Okay, I can't look at it. It's blocking me from looking at it, but that's really cool. Anyways, side note, yeah, card's really sweet. So again, you may draw a card, which I think is really sweet. It is a non-token creature, but again, in any sort of like deck where, you know, you're killing things a lot, but you're playing black, so you're probably running board wipes and running other removal spells to just kill everything. It does say any sort of creature, which is really sweet, so it doesn't just have to be like your creature is dying, it can be like other people's creatures dying. Overall, again, I think this card is very underrated. I think it's really sweet, and it's a body, and you're left with a 5/5 Death Toucher. Like, come on, yes, and it's only 6 mana. Card is great. That is it, guys. That is it for Black Card Advantage. If you want to check out the other Card Advantage videos, you can just search in my EDH videos playlist and find those other. I think I've done some for definitely colorless. I have like about 2 for colorless, and then I have blue and green. I definitely have those colors. I don't know if I've done white. I don't know if I've done white, and I definitely haven't done red yet. So that is it. I will see you guys in my next video on Thursday. Bye.